Things break. Sometimes things break hard, but not all things that break are incidents, and not all incidents are treated equal. Life isn't easy being the one to answer for an incident. It's even worse when someone dumps it on your lap. The blame game is on. When it comes to incidents, it's always homemade. This is Incidents, Accidents, and Normal Wear and Tear. Hey guys, have you ever seen movies where people make the same mistakes over and over again and they don't learn their lesson? Example, like Jurassic Park, say. Here's a guy who decides you know what? Let's recreate dinosaurs. And then they're so wrapped up in the idea of doing their thing that they fail to see certain things. Everything goes to absolute trash. And then a few movies later, they say, let's build the park all over again. And this is whatever past mistakes they made in the past, that's never going to happen again. And then lo and behold, it happens not once again, but twice.
Yeah, that didn't work the first time. Let's redo it again, but with bigger dinosaurs. And how about one that can swim?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we're going to do that.
That eats whales for a living, you know?
Yeah.
So, think about that. Let's take a step back.
God, that place's life insurance policy's got to be through the roof.
Right? I think their life insurance is like my paycheck for the next 10 years.
You'd be lucky if you got that over the next 10 years.
Right?
Accidents happen all the time, especially at Jurassic Park. How many of you can say that your job is similar to Jurassic Park in that you can see it, you can see the writing on the wall, but oftentimes management can't because the almighty dollar gets in the way. But it never ends that there's always an accident and or incident. And what's the difference, you might ask? Well, it's all on who they're going to blame.
Yeah, I totally feel that. And one shop's incident is just whatever. That's not that big a deal.
I think it's weird because they look at it and say, boy, I'm really going to get my ass handed to me on this one. We're just going to classify it as normal wear and tear. Well, you drove the tug into the hangar. So I don't know how that's normal wear and tear.
I don't see your logic on that one. How does that work out?
or there'd be like a cable. Yeah, so we're just gonna call it normal wear and tear. Well, the bundle's been cut through cleanly by something sharp. I don't know how that's normal wear and tear. Normal wear and tear would be the connector's a little loose because it's worn out because it's a component that gets removed and installed constantly. All right, that's fine. Or a tow bar, right? Tow bar, hey, the shear pin, finally cut loose on the tow bar. Yeah, I can also get behind that one a little bit. Yeah, you were still probably wrenching on it too hard with your horrendous driving skills. but all right, the shear pin, maybe after excessive use, it finally decided it was going to give way. All right, maybe.
Right. Or, when you hear wear and tear, you're thinking something like you stripped out a screw or you bang something in too hard after so many times of you taking it off and putting it back on. Stuff like that. But to just straight up break something and then call it wear and tear, I think you and I went to different education backgrounds because that looks like a clean break to me, not.
Well, it's like the epitome of the blame game. As soon as something happens, everybody puts their finger on their nose and points at somebody else. Not it. Everybody else, it's your fault. Get out.
Your germs.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Shoreline, I'm sure in your industry they got similar things that happen.
Oh man, yeah, tons. So, for instance, we were working with this big national tour, and we had a bunch of stagehands from a labor company, and they were cutting tape on their snake, which had a fiber line in it, and unfortunately, said stagehand cut through the fiber line, and this is like a 300 plus foot, length of fiber, and the snake itself cost us about $2,000 to replace that fiber, and the labor company didn't cover any of it because we couldn't prove that it was them that did it. So
right, so you couldn't prove that because fiber line, right, is pretty delicate to begin with. I take it
Extremely.
At least from what Six and I's experience is with fiber lines. They seem uber brittle, and they get and the smallest amount of dust, messes up their connectivity.
Yeah, so let alone a knife cut through it.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely a break in the connection.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
I mean, my experience with fiber reel or fiber optic cable is when I used to be a telephone installer, and we'd have to run fiber optic cables 3 stories, 4 stories down from one phone line center to another, and it just wasn't clicking to people, like just how frail this was at the time. It was still fairly new technology, and people would just say, oh, just force it down the line. I'm like, it's basically glass. You're basically dealing with glass. I mean, you have to treat it like glass. And sure enough, we're stuffing it 4 stories down, and then there's a break somewhere in the line. So then we have to fish out 3-4 stories worth of cable to figure out where the break was, so we know what to do with it. But with fiber line, you guys know, once it breaks, the whole line is trash.
Exactly. Re-terminating fiber is a pain.
Yeah, if you have to splice in a new connection, right? That's kind of a difficult task to do.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's something I've never done before.
So a couple of questions then I have. All right. So number one, is everybody's first or second job dealing with like phones? Because there's so many people that I know that were, I used to install cell towers, or I used to run fiber lines, this and that. It seems like everybody talks, I used to do this, and now I do this. And you're like, that's interesting, because there's just in my travels, it's a lot of people I've met that were former telephone working individuals. So I'm sort of, telephone device.
Because communication, that was the hot commodity, because you got
That's
the internet, you got Wi-Fi. Well, at the time, they were still experimenting with Wi-Fi. AOL Messenger was the new hotness. MSN Messenger was the new hotness.
Damn, 6, how old are you?
Undisclosed amount.
Well, you're saying AOL was the hot trend. I was like, I think I was in junior high.
I mean, I'm as old as DSL of that. I'm old enough to know what DSL was, if that's an indicator.
I mean, me too, but I was like, when I was coming onto the scene, right as I was phasing out. Wow. All right, so my second question then is, Shoreline, you can probably answer this. Is fiber the best? Is that the only thing that exists right now? They haven't come up with a better source to run information through?
Well, so fiber is only used in my world for certain things, or in very expensive equipment. Most of the time we're using just regular copper wire, with XLR ends and doing all that. But every once in a while we'll get a big tour come through, and they'll have, some top of the line gear and have some fiber in it, especially if they're working with their own video and stuff. Because video wise, that's really the most efficient way that at the moment to run that, because it can run for forever. And that's the other thing, is that a lot of the tours that I work with have to do rooms that are 100 feet wide, or 100 feet long, or 300 feet long. And so with fiber, it carries farther than other forms of data transportation.
Now, I can speak in the similar terms because a lot of people still to this day use coaxial cables. That's where you have like the copper wire with like some wire mesh in there to kind of break up the distortion. Mm-hmm. Now, my experiences with coaxial cable is you can run a decent line's worth of stuff up to maybe 150 feet. That's with the run-of-the-mill standard issue coaxial cable. And then there's bigger grades of it, but then it only adds like maybe 50 more feet per thickness, which brings me to a certain topic that we were going into today as far as incidents goes, where certain aircraft or certain type models, they'll have coaxial cables as part of their data transfer or their electronics transfer throughout the aircraft. And luckily, an aircraft is no longer than 150 feet, which would totally blow my mind once it gets beyond that at some point. But then you'll see some troubleshooters, they'll like, oh, we're having really bad connection, or we're having really bad data transfer. Like, how? There's really only one way to know, or one way to justify that, is if either there's a break in the line, or if there's something like disrupting the flow, which in most cases, it's either something power-wise or something like...
Yeah, from my experience on at least the corporate side of things, it's always been two things. It's been a power issue, or it's been a damaged line. There's been nothing else that I've either found a pinch line where somebody else did some maintenance in an area, and when they went to reinstall their components, they crushed the line, sliced the line, whatever. whatever the issue, or not enough input power.
Now, this kind of goes into the avionics side of the aviation world. Like, I feel a lot of these guys, they make up their gripes. You know, it's like, oh, we're having a distorted data transfer, or we're not getting enough power to this or to that. I'm like, I mean, electricity is electricity, man. Like, there's really not a whole lot that could go on between it, unless it's talking to a computer. Then we're getting a little bit complex. But there's only so much computing brain power inside a plane that I really feel you guys are just really making the stretch as far as how something's happening.
And half of these aircraft are running on technology that was developed in 1985. So it's not like it's even that uber complex. You know, it's 80s technology that we're still running today. Well, there's better stuff. You know, MVP. Yeah, I agree. But it also, that mod costs, you know, $65,000 per aircraft. So nope.
Solid, no.
They go back to the classic, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, great. So I guess to get back to the original conversation, fiber lines or any electrical line cause a lot of incidents. And depending on the type of line, maybe an accident. What happened to so-and-so over there? He got the shit shocked out of him. Six, you had a story about that, right?
Oh,
the guy
yes.
who got the shit shocked out of him?
Yes. So this was some avionics people working on the electronics compartment of a Huey. This was a 4-bladed Huey, no less. So there's a lot of electronic equipment in there, a lot of stuff that powers on electricity. And this kid was in the electrical compartment working on some stuff. I don't know exactly what. And then whenever people are working with electricity, you're supposed to at least make sure everyone's clear of it when they turn the power on.
Yep.
Well, you know, missteps, no steps, didn't consider or totally said F the procedures, turned the aircraft on, and this kid had his hands with metal wrenches in hand, touching two electrical inverters, and God knows how many amps like went through this kid's body. He like flew away from the plane, was smoking and everything. They rushed him to the hospital, all kinds of craziness. All I remember hearing was some kids came in to the control desk and said like, yeah, so-and-so got electrified. Like, what? What happened?
Yeah. How did that happen? Did he not tag out the power switches, the circuit breakers?
Like, did you guys clear power before you turned it on? Like, that's when you start hearing the stuff get a little sketchy, right? Like, yeah, we did. Or you get to hear like 45 different stories. So here you are, Scooby-Doo and the gang trying to solve the mystery, and it's always the person that first gave you the problem that ends up being the culprit.
Yeah, the one who ran to you first is always the one who was, hey man, just so you know, there's a problem, but it definitely wasn't me. Pretty sure. Yeah, no, definitely sure it wasn't me. All right, man, I'm just going to catch you later then. See you later, Chief.
We're on our own episode of CSI, you know, like with the theme song and all. You know, only needs a witty pun and somebody with some aviator glasses, you know, to just.
I guess he had a shocking experience.
Oh, shit.
Oh my god. So in that case then, right, is that considered, because the Nugget was doing his job correctly, right? He had power off for what the task he had to do at hand, but then other people came in afterwards and didn't clear power and applied power. So does that fall under incident or accident?
I believe I would call it as both. First of all, call it an incident because someone got hurt. I think in most cases that's instantly an incident.
You're probably right. So it's got to be either damage to the component or asset, whatever you're working, or injury to human health.
Yeah.
Okay.
At that point, I think that would be considered a mishap, not just an incident. But I think that's the same thing, no?
Probably.
Now,
yeah, it's just a different word to say the same thing.
Now, I don't remember everything that came up for that. Like, did everybody do the right thing? Did they skip procedure or whatever have you? But one thing I will say is people will do whatever it takes to avoid embarrassment, and that includes throwing certain individuals under the bus, particularly someone who's just looks guilty. Like everyone's just accept that he's the one to blame. Yeah, you know what I mean, guys.
Yep. I do. So there's no negative fault. So what I used to do, right, when I was working in the corporate realm, and say you're on a larger larger aircraft like a Falcon 2000 or a Bombardier Global 5 or 6000, and you had to work up in the hellhole on some of the electrical components, you might be checking relays for different things because you're troubleshooting a power issue, and verifying to see if the relays are failed open, whatever else. And you're back there, and all of a sudden, and you got a headlamp on, right? Because you got no power applied to the aircraft, and you go back there, and all of a sudden the maintenance light comes on, and you're like, what the hell? And then you hear components start turning on as they're throwing circuit breakers for everything. You go up front and you're like, what the fuck are you doing? I put a sign here, because that's what I used to do. I used to put a sign, do not apply power, working in hellhole, whatever. And then, so I went up front, and on the vanity, right, you walk in a lot of private jets, there's a vanity right there, a coffee bar, whatever you want to call it. And the sign was laying there with the tape on it from the guy had taken it off, laid it on the counter, and went back up. I said, did you not see the sign? Oh, yeah, but...
What sign?
I just ignored it. Literally, that's what they said. I just ignored it. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Why would you ignore it? You could have killed somebody, man.
So that's what I started doing, was taking extra time and to save myself, firstly, and then secondly, anything else happening bad to the aircraft or the other guy or anybody else working on the vehicle. But I would just go and disconnect the battery. So you had to climb up into the cargo bay where the battery was at. So it took additional time to do all these steps. So you back and check something, go back around, climb up into the battery bay, connect the battery, come back out, go up into the cockpit, fire everything up. Nope, that didn't work. Turn it back, shut it all back down, disconnect the battery back in. It took a whole bunch of extra time, but it's just to save yourself from ending up like the guy you just talked about, where he was lying in a smoking pile of his own mess.
Yep.
On the ramp,
Lucky he did. I wonder if he pooped himself, because I would figure, like that much electricity running through your system, you probably lost some involuntary functions,
I don't know, because it didn't happen to me. I got hit by lightning through the water lines in the Outer Banks of North Carolina when I was probably 12, I'd say. So in most of the beach houses out there, they have outdoor showers, and typical summertime of the Outer Banks, a storm rolls in off the Atlantic, and lightning had hit just down the street, but it went through the electricity traveled through the water lines underground and then came up through the shower that I was in and zapped me. It was enough that it lifted me up off the ground and then just dropped me. Remember seeing a blue and white flash? But, no bodily fluids exited rapidly.
Well, how would you know you were in the shower?
Well, it's true, but maybe it's one of those suppressed memories, like you just like, nope, I definitely didn't shit myself. I'm a real man. I got hit by lightning and walked away.
I don't know.
Maybe
that part of your memory bank just got deleted.
Yeah, maybe that's what happened. It just short circuited and fried that part of my memory.
You forgot to save your game.
You know what the worst part about that whole thing was? Is I didn't get any superpowers out of that. That's how you get some superpowers or some shit, right?
Yeah,
I got nothing. I got early hair loss.
Yeah, that's that's it. Like the worst superpower ever. I mean,
I got obesity and early hair loss. Damn it!
It was supposed to be like the Flash. Damn it!
Yeah,
he got struck by lightning. Then look at him.
Yeah, I got the other end of the deal.
So I got another story. Is similar to the guy who got shocked out of his shoes. This was actually a really close friend of ours. He was working on a CH-53. That's that big helicopter, like the Buff Force of the U.S. military's helicopter.
Buff horses. The three engine, right? Each engine produces like 4,000 horses.
Yeah, the
4,000
Buff Force.
Horses. Yeah, the Buff Horse.
Purrs for days, Anyway, so he was working on an APU, an auxiliary power unit, and it was clear sign that says "Do not turn on the APU," and someone just blatantly ignored the sign, kind of like in your case. Turns on the APU, and his arm catches on fire. He's like, "Whoa, jeez, I'm on fire!" And he puts it out, and then sure enough, he's mad. He's pissed off. He takes his boot and whatnot and hits the dude in the head. Like, what the hell, man? Did you see the sign that says "Do not turn on the APU"?
Yeah, and then he probably got in trouble for throwing his boot at somebody.
Probably. Like, oh, we can't have you putting your hands on somebody. Like, the dude set me on fire, so technically he put his hands on me first.
Yeah, he blatantly ignored all signs. Now, I guess the only saving grace the guy could have had is if there wasn't also a write-up in the logbook stating hey, do not apply power to this in bold lettering, right?
Right. But in almost every case, when you're doing something like that, you would see one, or at least look up the sign that says, do not turn on power.
Yeah, this must be here for a reason. And if you look in the logbook and say, well, there's no write-up in here for it, maybe start asking questions. Or 2, if there is a write-up for it, great, don't apply power to the APU. Or 3, look and see if there was a write-up that was in there about the APU, and then that's been signed off as being corrected.
Right.
And then the guy just forgot to take the sign out after he was done signing off the discrepancy.
Well, this is also assuming MVP that people actually do write-ups for their maintenance.
Or legible write-ups, or... Yeah, but that's a whole rabbit hole.
That's a whole other subject in itself. we'll get to there when we get to there. But so yeah, going into that. So the incident/accident, whichever it may be, happens. And now the blame game starts. Who, what, when, where, why? Who did it? What happened? How did it happen?
Yep. And usually most organizations, and I know the military does too, has their own forms or forms in the plural. Oftentimes the plural, that have to be filled out and sent to people that you don't even know work at your organization, but are somehow in charge of safety or something other in some other location.
I can attest to that to the highest of degrees. So I'm not sure what they call it in the other services, but for incident reports to that effect in the aviation side of the house for Marines, they call them flash reports, kind of like lightning flash reports.
Mm-hmm.
And these things ask every silly little thing you could possibly imagine you would want someone to ask you about a problem. I want to know what time it happened, who was involved, how many people were supposed to be working, what are their socials, all kinds of dumb stuff, man.
Socials, really? Well, I guess it's military, so I don't know if you could get away with that in the civilian side of the house, asking for a social like that.
Well, nowadays they don't use socials anymore. They use like their DOD ID numbers, but same effect, you know.
They use the chip that was implanted in their head by the one that Elon Musk created. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just let me scan your temple, please.
That's what all those immunization shots. One of them is the chip, you know. Like it will just scan you like the dog pound, you know, like
the dog pound. Yeah. Oh, we got a runner. We got a runner.
But yeah, like those incident reports, man. Like it's so convoluted. It almost makes me not want to do them, because it's asking so much. And I think that's part of the reason why people sweep stuff under the rug, is because they just don't want to have to deal with having to tell somebody.
Oh, yeah, the repercussions of that, and especially on the civilian side, if the FAA catches wind of stuff, oh, man, now your reports just tripled or quadrupled in their numbers, and the amount of interviews and questioning you're going to get, not only from your own management of your own company, but also from, FAA, the local FSDO reps, your NTSB rep, depending on the severity of what happened. It's horrendous, man. It's horrendous. So yeah, people do sweep things under the rug, which isn't good in itself, because maybe there was a lessons learned kind of thing out of that. Like, hey, just so we know, even though you had power off in the aircraft, there was a short in this specific model of aircraft that still allows battery power to flow past this point, right? So out of it, yeah, something bad happened, but you can say, hey, but we learned a severe problem that plagues this specific type model of aircraft. Okay, and now you're going to get an AB that drops with effective immediate, replace these components, or here's the fix, whatever,
Right. And certain things, there's just no avoiding it. Like, we saw it happen, 500,000 people saw it happen. You're going to have to write the report, and you're just going to have to suck it up. But then you have these other ones, like you said, there on the learning curves, or just kind of like the, let's keep it between us kind of thing. If it's one of those, like, dude, you almost burned my arm off, like, or you at least burned my coverall sleeve off.
Yeah,
and that's can be a little fisticuff action there.
Yeah, I'm gonna correct this one behind the hangar. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's as far as it'll go.
We're gonna take this to the tree line, as they say.
As they say.
As we're gonna have like a Connex box counseling, as they say.
Why does this Connex box have boxing gloves and padded walls? Oh, well, let me just show you real quick.
Close the door. And then they became friends, that's just how it happens.
I mean, that is true. I've been, in deployed locations where guys weren't getting along at all. And you say, If you got that big of a problem with another, go behind the hangar. You got 5 minutes. And after that, you shake hands and you go back to work. And if you can't resolve it after that, you get the hell out. I'm sending you both home. So oftentimes when you threaten them with that, it never even came to fisticuffs. It was like, all right, man, yeah, I'm fucking up. Yeah, I'm fucking up too. Sorry. And then those two were inseparable the rest of the deployment. Any maintenance action that happened, like, hey, we'll take care of it. And you're like, man, last week you guys wanted to kill each other. Now you do everything together.
Now you're the
go
best
to the
of
gym,
homies.
go to the chow hall, probably even have to share a bunk bed, you know?
You're on Xbox Live together.
Yeah, that's it. Now, you talked about sweeping it under the rug. I'm not saying I've never done that, because I've definitely done it, but I also, because you also have to weigh out the pros and cons, right? Like, damn, man, so many people are going to get involved in this, and it's not even that big of a problem. Do we have replacement parts here? Like, yeah, like, all right, let's just, hey, fix it, take care of it, and let's move on.
Yeah. We're like an example of like, let's just pretend this never happened was like, you're taking out some screws on a panel and you bust straight through the panel because you were pushing down so hard. Like you punched like a hole through it.
Yeah.
And then so you go to the composite people like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, my bad.
I mean, you're going to get messed around with hands down, but at least it's one of those like, all right, well, you messed up, so whatever, let's move on and let's fix it. But then you get other ones where people like just straight up disobey laws, disobey regulations, don't follow the procedure just because they think like, well, I know better than the book. And they end up screwing something up completely. And then they fall back to like, well, the book wasn't specific about what I should or should not be doing. Well, what are you talking about? It says right there, bold black letters, shall not.
Almost written in old-timey English. Ye shall not torque beyond such and such Newton meters. Because, it's old-timey, so you got to go in Newton meters.
Newton meters. This was pre-physics, like, what is it? What's the measurement back in the before metric system times? Like,
Gutentite.
Stones, like you shall not tighten more than 3 stones.
What's a stone?
What does that mean?
I'm from old timey America.
Or would you say good and tight?
Gutentite, yeah.
Gutentite.
What's the torque on that? Just Gutentite. Very well. If you hear a snap, you've gone too far.
I like how those where you have maintenance actions and they're, hey, how tight does it need to be, or how much does it need to be, and then they reference it to animals. Like, how much do I need to tighten this? Oh, gorilla torque. Or how small is this? Oh, it's about a fleece hair, or something like that.
Yeah, I think there's another unit of measurement, but we shouldn't probably say that on here.
Yeah. Let's keep that one out of there. Or you get nomenclature that's named after animals, like donkey dicks.
Well, that's actually where we currently are at 6. Is there is an actual tool called a donkey dick, and it's pretty useful actually for what it's made for. And I'll just leave that with the listeners. You can take that to your own mind.
So going back to the sweeping under the rug thing, you get those individuals, like I mentioned, where they either blatantly ignore it or they think they're smarter than the book, and the spotlight gets on them, and they start saying stuff for like, well, the book wasn't specific, or they'll say stuff like, oh, this always happens. This is a constant thing. It's just it's routine for us and whatnot. Like, what? No, it's not
routine. This is the first time I've ever heard you guys doing this. How is this routine? Oh, well, it's routine for us. We just do it kind of on the side. We don't tell anybody we do it. Like, but I'm control. I have to know what's going on here.
Yeah.
Sweeping under the rug my ass.
Yeah. And then they somehow find a way to blame you as the controller. Like, well, you control didn't tell us that we shouldn't have done it that way. Like, what?
And then their management sticks by them. Yeah. If you guys had known more, I'm not the SME. I'm not the subject matter expert here. You do that. You tell me, I prioritize what needs to be done, and you do it. And you're doing stuff that I'm not aware of. So that one's on you, pal.
Yeah, and especially with maintenance control, like you got guys in there who are all sorts of like different specialties. You got guys there who are line mechanics. You got guys who are composite specialists. Every so often you'll have avionics specialists, but we're not going to know what's what. Like if I tell an avionics person like, oh, hey, this 3-ply layup is too thin or something like that, he's just going to look at me with like the burned out headlight look. What does that mean?
Yeah. Like, I
don't
get
understand. Oh, I was like, sorry, excuse me. Beep, beep, whistle, whistle, beep, 01, beep, whistle. Oh, okay, I get it.
Well, you wouldn't talk to the composite guy that way. That's only the Tron who's going to understand that.
Yeah, composite
01001101. Oh, right on. I got that.
For the composite guy, you got to speak in hammers. You know, like just get 2 hammers and like clank them together. Oh, okay, I get it.
Oh, I understand. Oh, you gotta do the plies at a 45. Oh, okay, I got you.
So going back to it wasn't our fault. I feel that's such a prevalent thing, especially now in 2020 going on. Just like, it's not my fault. You guys didn't tell us that we shouldn't have done it. The book wasn't specific. Like, I don't know how else to tell you that you should have known better, other than you should have known better.
Right. Well, and how about this, right? So as in some places, as you know, Six, sometimes the maintenance manual is not up to par for whatever ungodly reason.
Right.
And they go, well, we can't be held responsible because the book was unclear on this, and it didn't give specific or that's a known problem like that. It's known that they followed the book and the book was wrong and it caused this problem. And they go, well, we can't be held responsible because that's a known issue. And we've submitted the change for the maintenance manual. And how long ago did you submit it? Well, like 4 years. You got to be out of your mind. Are you kidding me? So it's 4 years. So now I want to go to the supervision. This is your fault because since it's known, you haven't properly trained your personnel to make sure that they're all aware that this is a problem to prevent in the future.
Yeah. And so now we're going into like the management side of it. Like, what was your mitigation to stop this particular problem from happening, despite that you know that this can and will happen? Oh, well, we submitted a change about 4 years ago, so we're just waiting for that to come back. So yeah, I get that. But what are you doing in the interim? Have you given training to these guys saying that, oh, if you touch this button, it's gonna shock the life out of you?
Right. If you submitted even an email, right, an all hands email, like, hey, everybody, just so we're all on the same page, this is a problem, and then loop in engineering on that, so engineer can go, hey, I didn't know about that, or maybe engineering says, I do know about that, and we're working a fix now. But if they don't know, that's bringing in the light to them, so they can say, oh man, I better jump on this quick and resolve this so we can move on without injury or loss of life or whatever.
Yeah, especially. And I'm not sure how everywhere else plays it. I can speak for this on the Marine side of things. They have this process they call IRACs, or interim rapid action changes, where if someone notices a problem, such as the book says this when it should be that, they will submit this IRAC that they can kick out at any time of the year, any time of the day, and you're supposed to print that out and literally tear out the pages that it's supposed to replace and stick it on in there, like tape it. Or it's like a thumb drive for all those electronic tablets that have procedures. You just plug in the thumb drive.
And auto updates.
It auto updates, and then you're good to go. And it'll show in red what changed, So instead of like stick fork into outlet, and then instead of that, it says do not stick fork into outlet. Like, oh, okay, I know what changed.
Yeah. Exactly. There's different things different routes they can go to resolving those kind of issues. But again, it goes back to, it's not my problem, or sweep it under the rug. It's not going to get resolved that way. There's a time and place for sweeping under the rug, and that those specific instances where people can get hurt are not those times.
Right. And I feel this especially on the control side of things, especially because no one really cares about you, or no one knows exactly what you do until there's a problem, or it's something that they need. Like, hey, control, so aircraft whatever just smoked its engine, or aircraft whatever, its landing gear went up and it's still on the ground. Okay, what did you do about it? Well, I just told you, so have a nice day.
Yeah, I'm just letting you know that there's a problem. I'm like, well, have you talked to your direct in command, who supposedly knows more than that person, right, on the specific systems of that specific aircraft? But, well, yeah, I did tell them, and they told me to come tell you. Okay, well, what's the path forward? I don't know. I guess let us know when you get an answer. The hell? The hell you say?
Wait a minute, what? How am I supposed to know how to deal with the shit that you broke?
Yeah, I don't even know the intricacies of what happened. Yeah, so submit the after action form or your mishap form or whatever the form's called that you have. Oh, where do I get that? Go talk to your management. And then you get a call from their management. Hey, do you have this form? Jesus Christ.
Jesus, man. Like, how are you?
You're growling as you're like clicking through your files on your computer.
I was like,
There, I sent it to you. Save it to your desktop and then submit it.
Yeah. Like, how are you in charge of people and you don't have the stuff when shit goes wrong?
Yeah, I know.
It makes me wonder, like, so what you been doing to make you sure that you're doing the stuff right? God damn it.
just sitting there at their desk with their fingers and toes crossed and doing a rain dance saying, please let nothing bad happen today. Please let nothing bad happen today.
Right.
And if something does bad happen, please let me not be on site or please let somebody else take charge on it.
Right. That'd be the bad time to be the new supervisor on shift, right? Oh, hey, by the way, damn it.
Yeah. Hey, man, anyways, just so you know, we smoked the engine. That's the second one in a week. So finger guns at you, and I'm clocked out, so I'm going to get out of here and let me know. Yeah, back the coop up and chuck the deuce up.
I've done this, especially in the Corps, and I believe in the corporate world does the same thing where they come at you with a problem, they tell you that something broke, and you're given the 21 questions, and then somewhere along the line, somebody always says, so are you guys going to do the report? What? Why am I going to do the report? You're the one who broke it.
Yeah, but I don't know how to fill it out. And you're like, okay, well, I can send you another email that has a way to fill it out. Yeah,
it's like here's the instructions. Here's the form. Use your mind and figure it out.
Yeah. Now, in most instances, you could go. You need to go talk to quality for all the specifics and how they want stuff filled out. Because in most cases, right, quality is going to take that incident report for action, assuming you have a real quality department.
I can tell you, at least from my experiences, quality, those dudes are sharks, especially when someone hurt themselves or they broke something.
Oh, yeah, they're out for blood.
Yeah. If control is not on your ass first, quality for sure is on you.
It's going to be like Major Payne. Somebody's going to answer for this blood from my lip.
Don't all run at once.
Yeah, quality walks in, turns on the light switch, and all your shops scatter like cockroaches. Ah, shit.
And then if and when quality does get a hold of you, you'll be that other scene in Major Payne where you're all dug in a hole and he's watering you like a bunch of freaking cabbages.
My little Brussels sprouts.
Let that be the last time you talk about me behind my back. God, I love that movie. That was a great movie.
They're waterboarding your ass while asking for information. Give me what I want to know.
I just want to be able to be in a situation where I could give the little engine that could story. Imagine that.
Oh my God, that would be awesome. Somebody's like, why do I need to fill out this stupid incident report? Well, let me tell you about a time Charlie came crawling out the back with his little bloody nubs kicking up and down. I can't feel my legs. Well, Bubba, you ain't got no legs. Anyways, to make a long story short, that's why you need to fill out an incident report form.
Yeah. Now, I've also had this before where an incident happens, they're filling out the report, and then it goes time to say, well, who is responsible? Who was the cause of the incident?
Oh, you're talking like in an instance where all shops were on a plane, working a plane, different things on the same plane, but they're all trying to point fingers. Oh, well, because they were up there moving that around, that caused us to mess up back here. I don't know.
Yeah. So it's
is that what you're referencing to?
Yeah. So it's like, well, we're at fault, but they're more at fault than us. So let them let them be the one to blame or what have you. No.
You know, I notice that happens a lot if there's the at fault shop is some senior guys and the other guys working from another shop are relatively newer. I think they go, oh, it was them that messed up, because the new guys are going to go, I swear I didn't do anything. It wasn't me. I just and then people are going to go, well, they're the senior ones. They've been around longer, so they're probably telling the truth. You know?
Yeah, so they know better. So it's clearly got to be you.
Yeah.
Or you get another, or say we're talking about the aircraft's in the air already, and of course, if something happens, God forbid, it crashes, the first person they're going to blame is the pilot, hands down. You know, like, oh, what happened? Oh, pilot fucked up. But then they start doing investigations, or they start saying like who was all involved.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the technicians like, oh shit, I hope it was the pilot. Well, I did something wrong, but the pilot did something worse. You know,
like in your instance where with helos, you know, pilot had to auto rotate into the dirt, and then like, oh, pilot fucked up, but he recovered by auto rotating and landing safely, air quotes, onto said piece of earth.
Right.
And the investigation determines that, oh, this happened because somebody left a wrench in the inlet. You know, like, well, no, see, the pilot didn't fuck up. The plane fucked up, and he had to do his job to recover. The initial fuck up was you leaving your shit in the inlet.
Yeah, and then they'll turn around and say like, well, the pilot should have caught that on pre-flight.
Oh my god, yeah. It's like, well, you should have caught that on your post maintenance inspection. Where was your second set of eyes?
Where was your all tools accounted for procedure? Guy.
Right. Yeah. How were you able to check in your toolbox? Boy, we're referencing back to some other.
Yeah. How were you able to check in your tools if that stuff missing? Well, see.
Well, it wasn't a wrench. It was a flashlight. Okay, still, it's the same scenario, but it was a personal flashlight.
What's it matter, man?
Now, first I was going to beat you. Now I have to kill you. And then there come the white shirts of QA. Yep. Oh God! Everybody run for your lives!
Sharks are in the water now.
It's like, and going back to Jurassic Park, it's like when they're in the kitchen and they're trying to hide, and the Velociraptors come in. The Velociraptors are QA.
You know, and like, oh my God, they learned how to open doors. They must have figured out how to open doors.
Oh my God, they're learning.
Oh, shit.
That's awesome.
That was a good movie. And I'll say this, man. Like, I was talking earlier, but I wanted to make a Major Payne quote at a certain scene in life. And I feel I've made that accomplishment with Jurassic Park.
Oh man, that was a great day.
So a little inside story for those of you. I was in a maintenance meeting, and everything just went to shit that day. No power, no water, no emails, no maintenance server, no nothing. So we were basically in the dark as far as what the hell was going on with the maintenance. And I made this quote during the maintenance meeting, and I said like, well, damn, it's just like Jurassic Park. All we need now is like some velociraptors picking people off on the line and whatnot. And then the look on everybody's face when I said that, and it wasn't like amazement, it was just kind of like sheer confusion. They were like, what's Jurassic Park?
Where's he going with this?
I don't understand this Jurassic Park. What does that mean? I'm like, dude, you guys gotta be shitting me. Like, Jurassic Park came out in '93. I know most of you were alive when that movie came out.
and most of you had kids that were, you know, of the age to go see that. You're a damn liar if you said you didn't go to the theaters and watch it.
Right. And then to make matters worse, there's a person behind me dared me to say Jurassic Park at least 3 more times. So I say, challenge accepted. And I said it 7 more times. I got my ass chewed for that, hands down, but it was still funny when I did it.
Well, totally worth it. Yeah, totally worth it in that aspect.
It's so worth it.
Oh my God, that was a funny day. So anyway, it was just like Jurassic Park. We had issues and problems, and we all saw them coming, but nobody chose to do anything else about it. What? I remember everybody's faces in that room. It was comical.
I literally had to explain the plot line of the Jurassic Park series, you know?
Right, yeah. So a maintenance meeting that typically takes 30 minutes, an hour and 15 minutes later comes back. What happened? I had to basically read off the plot for the entire original Jurassic Park.
It all started with
I I actually went and printed screenplays, and we all had to read the parts off for the movie characters.
I want to be the Velociraptor. It all began with mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are the devil. So to bring all this in view, man, I feel like Jurassic Park is probably like the best reference for a lot of stuff, especially when it comes to incidents and accidents, because you get this idea, or you get this task that you're just so nose blinder to do. You want to get it done. You want to make sure it goes off without a hitch to meet your schedule. And then you get incidents or things that happen that throws you off. So you try to ease your way back by doing something pretty shady. And then some things go wrong. And then to make matters worse, is you don't learn your lesson. You try to do it over and over and over again the exact same way, thinking the outcome's going to be different.
Yeah. Or you're walking along the line and you see a massive problem, and i.e. the T-Rex, right? The T-Rex portion. You just kind of turn your back and say, well, if I just go to the bathroom and take a poop nap, maybe it'll go away. Right. But guess what? The door kicks in and you get eaten by the T-Rex.
Right. I think that's how people treat the problem. Exactly that. Oh, the T-Rex can't see you if you don't move. So if I don't admit to my mistake, the T-Rex is going to blow right past me.
Yeah. I can't be held accountable for anything.
Just play dumb and it will all go away.
Well, I guess to wrap all this up, hopefully those out there who know what incidents or accident report forms are got a good laugh out of it. And those of you who have no clue what we're talking about, hope you still got a good laugh out of it and maybe learned a little bit about the differences of an incident or an accident. And if you didn't learn anything, well, I mean, there's always Google. Research it.
At the very least, you guys are going to go watch Jurassic Park today.
Yeah, and Major Payne. Movie night.
Movie night. Netflix and chill, bro. Hulu and hang. All right. So for those of you, if you like our content, you can follow us on Instagram at Canx, CANX for maintenance podcast. You can also follow us on cancelformaintenance.com, where you'll see all our episodes. You'll see a little bit of info about us. We have an online shop coming where you can get some clothing apparel, some cool merch. If also you want to support us, like keep our lights on, keep Shoreline happy, and keep on doing what he's doing, we also have a Patreon at Patreon/canceled for maintenance. I'll give us a like on Facebook as well. And, support and share our content. Tell other people, like, if you have an idea for us that you want us to talk about, or if you want to be a guest on the show, hit us up at cancelformaintenance.com. There's a little tab there that says contact us, and we'll do what we can, get you on the show.
Yeah, we'd love to have you on and talk at you and laugh with you, and just all in all have a good time. All right, everybody. Well, have a good day. Thanks for hanging out.